Good morning, students. In the previous video, we had learned about importance of business law, meaning of contract, difference between contract and agreement. Today we are going to learn about offer and acceptance. Now the first question that arises is what is an offer? According to Indian Contract Act section 2A, offer is when a person signifies to another person his willingness to do something or to abstain from doing something with the assent of the another person. It is said that he is making an offer. So from this definition we get 3 points or three explanation. First, offer is expression of willingness to do something or to abstain from doing. In simple words, if we don't look too deep, it generally means if one person is making a proposal and other person is accepting it, it is an offer. An offer can be positive or negative. For example, if a person says that please sing in my theater for fortnights, then he is making a positive offer. On the other hand, if the person increases the conditions or lays more conditions that till the time you are singing in my theater, you cannot sing in another theater, then it simply means it's a negative offer. Second thing that we need to know about offer is the second person has to give his assent or his sehmati, what we say in English, that we have accepted the offer. Without his acceptance, an offer would not be complete and thus it would not result in a contract. Thirdly, the person who makes an offer is called offerer, and the person to whom the offer is made, he is called an offeree. There are some essential points which we have to keep in mind while making an offer. First point that we should keep in mind is willingness of offer must be conveyed by the offerer. For example, X tells Y in a conversation that he will give 50,000 rupees to whoever person who will marry his daughter with his consent. Now, in this conversation, it is just his intention to do so. He doesn't tell why that he will give him 50,000 if he marries his daughter. He is just discussing in a general mode. It's a general discussion between two person. He is just telling his opinion or his intention. So this will not constitute an offer even if Y marries his daughter with his consent, because it was not an offer made directly to him. It was just a normal conversation where X was revealing his intentions. Second thing which is important is the offerer should give his assent to the offer. As discussed earlier, I've told you that the offeree must accept the offer and must communicate to the offerer that he has accepted the offer. If he does not communicate or if he remains silent, it will not constitute an offer. Third thing, offer must create legal relationship or consequences. It simply means that it should be legal in the eyes of law. If offer is not fulfilled or promises are broken, a party can sue the other person on the basis that offer was not fulfilled. Then the terms of offer should not be ambiguous, vague, or loose. For example, if we say that a person wants to sell oil, then he has to tell what type of oil he wants to sell, what kind of oil is he selling, how many liters of oil he will sell. Just if he just mentions that he wants to sell the oil, it's not an offer. Then offer can be specific or general. General offer is said to that person which is made in general to unascertained body of individuals. For example, if I make an offer, if I get it advertised in newspaper, then it is a general offer. In general offer, any person can accept the offer. For example, X offers a reward of 500 to whoever who founds his lost scooter. It simply means it's a general offer. This what happened in Carlick versus Carbolic Smoke Ball. In this famous case, Carbolic Small Ball Company advertised that whoever uses their smoke ball, and if he catches influenza, they will provide him 100 pounds of money. Mrs. Carroll uses that smoke ball in prescribed way and got influenza. So now she can go to the court and recover the money because it was a general offer. In this case, any number of person who use that garlic ball by the company and caught influenza can go to the court to recover their money because that was a general offer. Second point is specific offer. Specific offer is made to a person or individual and the same person can accept that offer. For example, X tells Y C to sell his TV for 50,000. That's a specific offer. Only Y can accept this offer and no one else because it's a specific offer between X and Y. Then offer can be express or implied. What do you mean by express offer? Express offer is any offer that is written or that is spoken. Whereas implied offer, it is when a person behaves in a manner without using words or as circumstances suggest. Example of implied offer can be Delhi Metro operating at different routes, beauty parlors offering their services, or ATM services to the customer. Then again, offer can be definite or standing offer. For example, when an offer is made to supply specific goods, it is a definite offer. When offer is made to supply continuous goods, then it is a standing offer. For example, a tender to supply goods as and when required is a standing offer. Then every offer must be communicated. Offer must be communicated to the offeree, otherwise it would not amount to an offer. After communication, his acceptance is as much necessary as communication. For example, X finds an article lying on the street. Then he restores it to the owner without the knowledge that reward has been offered by the owner. He cannot claim the reward because he was ignorant of the offer. Secondly, he did not communicate his acceptance. This is what exactly happened in the case Lalman Shukla versus Gauri Dutt, where Gauri Dutt sent his servant Lalman to find his nephew, who has gone missing. After Lalman was sent to find his nephew, Gauri Dutt announced that 50,000 will be given to the person whoever finds his nephew. Now Lalman was not aware of this announcement. He found the boy, but he cannot claim the reward. Why? Because the offer was not communicated, nor did he accepted the offer. Lastly, offer should not contain the terms of non-compliance. For example, you cannot add additional conditions or restrict someone from their basic rights. For example, an offer to to go to not to go to a case or not to go to a court if his rights has been infringed is not an valid offer. Why? Because you are causing infringement of his basic rights, which will not constitute an offer. Then if there are special conditions to an offer, it must be communicated. For example, if a person is traveling by bus and the bus driver mentions that any loss would not be regarded, we will not be given compensation for that loss. If person suffers from a loss, he cannot claim it. Then this condition has to be told to the offeree. Then only the company can choose it as a defense. Otherwise, they cannot take such defenses if special conditions are not communicated. Lastly, I would like to show the differences between offer and invitation to offer. What is an invitation to offer? Invitation to offer is inviting someone to make an offer. An offer is willingness of a person to enter into a contract. Main objective of offer is to enter into a contract when accepted. While an invitation to an offer, the main objective is to negotiate terms on which the invitation is made. Offer, the consequences of offer results in a contract, whereas invitation to a contract results in making